Fuck! Extinguisher! Extinguisher! So after the big day yesterday and taking our big and our first pig, which was quite an intense experience, now we've got to butcher it all and kind of deal with everything. And one of the things we want to do is make a couple hams. But when you're kind of living off the land like we are and you don't have access to curing salt and things like that, you need to get creative. We're actually going to do a wet cure with ocean water, which is, I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, but we're going to give it a go. The main reason that people get curing salt is because it's not iodized, and if you put your table salt in, which is iodized, it gives kind of a metallic-y flavor to the ham. And so with ocean water, there's no iodine added to that, so that should work out perfectly for us. So we're going to start just by bringing this to a boil. So we're just going to let that boil probably only for about 20 minutes, half an hour or so. We're going to add in some of our spices that we've got there. We're pretty limited on what we have available to us, but we do have coriander, which is quite regularly used, some pepper flakes, some garlic, and then we don't have brown sugar, which a lot of people would add, so we've thrown in some stevia. We're going to let that boil for 20 minutes just in case there's any bacteria or anything from the ocean water. And then we'll start brining our nice big ham, which looks amazing that we've got there. We have our ham that we've got in our giant brining bag. Probably didn't need to be that big, but that's the only one they had at the store. And our brine's cooled down a little bit there. It's still warm, but we're going to get it in there anyways. I had a quick taste. Tastes really good, sweet and salty, so I'm hoping that works out well. And I'm going to make sure that's going to kind of come over the ham there when we get it in the fridge, which it will. So we're going to seal that up and put that in the fridge and let it sit for 7 days and cure. Alright, so this one I am very, very excited about. After 3 months of eating chicken and things like that, this is making my day. We got our ham going that we're going to do a wet cure on, and we've got our bacon that we're going to do a dry cure on. And now that we're getting eggs too, I'm very excited for bacon and eggs. So we've cut this piece in half just so we can fit it into our Ziploc bag after. If you look at that, that's what that deliciousness is going to look like after we slice it up. And again, of course, because we don't have all the normal ingredients that most people do, we are not doing your traditional one where you mix in brown sugar or maple syrup or anything like that, or curing salt. But again, we do have our sea salt that we've dehydrated, which is non-iodized, so it should work well for the bacon as well. And then we're also just going to add some stevia just for a bit of kind of sweetness to it. Just instead of the brown sugar, it's not going to be the same, but hopefully you'll get a little bit of that kind of sweetness into the salt as well. So we're just going to mix this up a bit, and then we're going to spread it all over the bacon here. And what this does eventually is the salt actually dries the moisture out from the meat to cure it. So that's kind of how all this work. So really we're just going to get on there and kind of rub all of that in. Give it a go. Okay, so just going to flip those and do the other side, and then we'll get them into our Ziploc bags. Because it's kind of got more of a fatty side on this, I'm just going to score this a bit. Just kind of like you would a ham, just to allow that salt to kind of go through, but you don't actually want to cut the meat too much. In there. You want to make sure you don't just put it on top, you kind of rub it right in there. Okay, so we've kind of got that nice and covered there now. We're going to let all this dry out and put that in the Ziploc bag. And we're just going to basically just leave that in the fridge. You leave it for 7 days, and then we're going to pull it back out, rinse all the salt off, and then let it dry in the fridge for a couple more days after that as well. Make sure that's nice and sealed. You got your bag of bacon. We'll let that cure for 7 days in the fridge, and yeah, we'll come back to you when we're pulling it out and going to the next step. Hey everyone, so today we're trying something new that I've never tried before because we're running out of potatoes, to be honest, and we're heading into winter. We thought we had enough, and we don't. And we're going to try growing them in a big garbage can inside over the winter, so we can still produce some good volume of food and provide us with some more potatoes. So if it works, I don't know, but we're going to give it a try. Put about 4 inches of dirt into our garbage can. get that going into there and break that up. Doesn't need to be exact, but you kind of want 4 or 5 inches on the bottom so the roots have room to go down. And also just the potatoes kind of don't get too congested in there and have room to grow so the dirt isn't compact. We kind of mix in some straw as well. A little bit more. And we've got our little potatoes that we've kind of just been storing in the basement in a cold, dark place. So these are starting to get some good sprouts on them coming out of there. And you just want to use small ones. They don't need to be big. And you don't need to be that many. Tons of potatoes grow off of each sprout. So we're just going to take those and we're going to put them in facing up. And try and keep them nice and spread out in there. So we've got our potatoes in there, and now we're just going to sort of mix in another 6 inches of soil and straw just to build that up. And then eventually what we're going to do is once those sprout up and we've got some green leaves on top, we're just going to keep stacking the soil on top and on top until it's actually almost at the top of the garbage can, and then our shoots will continue to grow up from there. But we're going to continue stacking it every time the shoots sort of get about 6 inches above the soil, just so it continues to grow more and more tubers under the earth there. So we've got our potatoes placed in there. We're just going to very gently start placing some soil and some straw on top just to get that first cover layer on there. So we want to make sure the potatoes stay upright and we don't damage the sprouts that are around them. So we want to get those kind of nice and supported so that they continue to grow upwards. And again, just kind of mixing in a bit of straw here and there for drainage and to give the potatoes room to grow. And so I'm just being careful. You can kind of see the last sprout there. Maybe kind of dark in the garbage can, but this protecting that, the ones that are sticking up, so the other ones are already buried. But you just want to make sure you don't snap those off once you're filling it in. Then once they're covered, you can just kind of dump the rest in. And just kind of sprinkling in some straw throughout there as well. And now that that's all covered, we're just going to kind of don't have to worry as much about it. And so that last sprout was pretty tall, so we're probably about 6 inches under there. So we're going to put that in the house where it'll be nice and warm and get some light on it. And we'll come and check back in once we sort of get the sprouts on there so you guys can see what it looks like. So if you're doing this outside, I definitely recommend putting some drainage holes in it. But for us, we're just going to have to be really careful that we're not over-watering and that we're just watering the right amount to kind of make sure it's getting enough moisture, enough water in there without overdoing it, that it's going to get soggy in the bottom. So we're going to have to be very careful and on top of that. Other than that, we'll check back in a couple of weeks when we got our first sprouts. Okay guys, I'm excited. It's been a week since we started curing our bacon. It's come out, I think, looking really good. I don't know how it's normally supposed to look, but you can kind of see like the cross cut there. It seems like it's going to be delicious. My fingers are crossed. It worked well with the ocean salt. And now we just got to smoke it for a couple hours. And then we can have bacon and eggs! We borrowed a smoker from our neighbor. He said we could borrow their smoker. He did tell me the electricity part isn't working, so we've kind of jerry-rigged our own thing. So we've made our own little sterner with some camp fuel wick in there, and then we're going to put some chips into there. So we've got some mesquite smoking chips that we got. So we're just going to put a couple of these in this pan. You may have to come in a little bit for this babe, but this has got these hooks on there that should, theoretically, just hook onto there. I don't know quite how I'm going to do that. Eek. Huh. Maybe that way. That looks better. Oh, right through there. Make it. 2. Okay. So, our piece of bacon is hanging. I'm going to light this bad boy up. Let's make it a bit of a spark off there. It's homemade.
Fuck! Steam my shirt! Steam my shirt! Fuck! I don't know how to use it.
No, it's not. It's going on.
Are you sure? Oh.
Lost some knuckle hair there.
Oh.
Well, that's what we want. It's going now. So normally probably wouldn't want it flaming quite that much, obviously, because you don't want it to get too hot in there as a hot smoke. So we'll probably leave it for a little bit less time, as long as those chips start smoking good. So we're gonna start keeping that in. Put the door on. Oh yeah, you're totally right. Did you just say other way too?
Twice.
Listen to the wind. Okay. We'll let that smoke for half an hour or so and see how it turns out. I don't want to ruin our bacon.
Wish us luck.
Okay, so it's starting to work. I just had the door open there. The wood chips are smoking out of that pan, which is good. You can see we got some flow coming out of there, and it's starting to smoke up nicely. So it's doing what we want it to do. So we'll touch base in 30 minutes, and hopefully have some nice smoked bacon. And all our fingers. So I don't think it quite worked the way we want, so maybe don't build your own sterno. It seems like it smoked it, but it's kind of got some black soot on it, which I think is from the sterno. So maybe that was a bad idea. But we're going to take it out and have a look at it. And see what it looks like. So I think the problem was it was a little too hot, and it kind of got some of that soot off the burning fuel. That we're going to try and get a bit of that off there. And we'll probably rinse that off, to be honest, and see what we can salvage. But as you can see, that's kind of gross and sooty and black, which really isn't what we wanted. So lesson learned. Sorry, babe. I think we'll still be able to salvage it, though. I think it'll be okay.
Now you just have to say you were right.
When you did tell me not to do that. Tell me I put it on upside down.
It might not have been on camera,
but how convenient! It wasn't on camera, was it?
I definitely told you that was a bad idea.
The hardware store was closed. We couldn't get sternos. That doesn't look that bad.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Salvageable.
I'll
eat it either way.
Oh, I'm gonna eat it either way. Okay. On to the next trick. We'll figure out what we do. Okay. I go. I'm up here.
Not actually.
Okay. Hey guys, so exciting day around here today. We got bacon, and now we're going to take our ham out of our wet cure. So we dry cured the bacon just by rubbing salt on it. And our ham has been for 7 days in the fridge, in this brining bag, in ocean water and some spices and coriander and things. And I have no idea how this ocean water is going to work out. So we're going to open it up and have a look and start cooking our ham. I'm going to, before I dump all the brine out, I'm going to put a little bit of the brine back into the pan to cook it in, just so it doesn't dry out while it's cooking, because it's going to be in there on low for quite a while, and it's dripping a bit already, and I'll go that way. This is a big ham. Well, let's just clean up and start from scratch. And I'm just going to give it a quick weigh. I need to cook it for about half an hour a pound on low. And that was 8 pounds. So 4 hours. So we're just going to cook it on super low, just at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Because it's a nice big piece of ham, bone in still obviously. And so we're going to put that in there, into the brine. Oh, that smells so good. And put the fat side up there. Oh, zoom in on that, babe. Look how good that looks. That looks so amazing. And smells so good. Oh. Mm-hmm. Look at all the meat we have. So, anyways, we're going to put that in. Yeah, it's 8 pounds of ham, so put that in for 4 hours on 200 degrees. Just cook it really slow, cook it in its juices so it doesn't die out. And yeah, we'll come check in with you guys when it's all done and let you know how it turned out. excited.